Alexa, play AJJ. Hello. Yes, I have my baby. I love him so much. He has paws and a collar and a bandana too, but I'm not wearing them because I'm lazy. And also because I need to be able to use my hands because we are gonna. Sorry, I have an itch on my face. Because we are still gonna do some commentary shit. Just he's gonna be in the corner. It's so cute. I know. I love him. Um, so we're gonna vibe. Also, my vape fits through his mouth, and that makes me happy because I didn't think it would be able to. Because in the picture, the mouth looks smaller, and that makes me very happy. Vibes. Okay, so we're gonna do what I usually do, but we're gonna have the baby in the corner. Let me adjust my. Oh my god, YouTube, stop! Adjusting my little setup here with the camera. Go back. There we go. Yeah, let me fuck with OBS for a sec. Is this right? Yes, this is right. Okay, cool. Let's vibe. He has amazing vision, and it makes me very happy because I've had some suits with really shitty vision, and though I've loved them, it's so nice to have good vision. He does have a pretty big blind spot right here, but I don't mind. My main suit has a pretty big blind spot too, so I'm used to it. So we're gonna do what we usually do, but with the baby. Also, his name is Jax. But yeah, so we're gonna do that. I'm picking out a video. I don't know. We watched a lot of these. Not sure. This one's really short. You know what we're gonna do? Give me a sec. Where is the? Oh, this. We didn't finish this last time. So this.
No, you don't, or you wouldn't say that dumb thing.
This is what we were watching last time. It's the debate with Kent Hovind and Dave, who is a chemist. So we're gonna finish watching this. I need to turn off my music because my laptop has shit audio. So Alexa, stop. So yeah, I am fucking hyped, man. I got hair in my mouth and I'm just like, I can't reach it. I hate whenever that happens with fursuits. Like you get hair in your mouth or in your eye or something, and it's like hard to reach it, or like an itch, and it's like Now I said itch and I have an itch. Fuck, man, I hate when that happens. It's so annoying. It's not the fursuit's fault. Okay, so we're gonna go back to this. Tell me about him. I don't know. I just got him. He's beautiful. He has a resin base, and he has a little beanie, and you can take it off, but I like the beanie. He's staying. And then I got, where did it go? He came with a little collar, and they gave me a squishmallow. Oh my god, I cannot. He's just absolute baby, and his name is Jax.
Thing that you just said.
Here you go. Okay.
No, what I said was true. You don't.
Hey guys, Nate and
Oh my god,
Jeremiah.
add
Come on
already?
in. We want to
Really?
show you how to style your house with our collection for living spaces.
Our designs
Get it. Fossils would in an honest court of law, no fossils would count. They would all be thrown out because
Where the judge is a developmental biologist? What do
Bruh,
you mean?
literally, what
law?
does fossils have to
Dave,
do with?
we don't see
with
any animal
fucking-
today.
Why is he using that as an example? That is a completely different field of science.
This chart shows a protista producing a human. We don't see protista produce anything other than protista today. But you think a fossil
Yeah, you
protista
do.
could do it?
You what do you mean other than protista? No,
This man
evolution
is, like,
does
driving
not
me up the
say
wall.
that. See, this is why you need to define kind. Because if you are saying that kind is species, then you're wrong. Speciation occurs. Do you agree that speciation occurs?
That's a slippery term, but yes, I'll give a qualified
It's
yes.
really
I
not,
agree.
though. It's really not a slippery term, though.
It's not a
because
slippery-
species is not a slippery.
It's not a slippery term. It's a fucking scientific definition, bro. Dude, Kent Hovind needs to shut the fuck up. Okay, let's go. He makes me so angry.
Term like kind. Species is a population of organisms that can produce viable fertile offspring. It's actually a very rigid definition.
Okay, good. Now, there is a whole population of protista on this planet, like trillions of them. They are having babies all the time. Do they ever produce anything other than a protista? Today. Can we watch them
Evolution
today?
doesn't-
What is this man's obsession with the fucking protista? Drop it, dude. It's irrelevant. What is he doing? Did I mute it? Oh yeah, I did. I don't know how I did that. Okay.
Paramecium may evolve into, or a subset of a population of the paramecium may evolve into a new species of
Ugh, I
paramecium,
keep
but
getting
a
itchy
protist
because
is
my
not a
hair is in my
species.
face. I didn't
Right?
put my
A
hair back
protist is
whenever
a group, and you're
I don't
deliberately
have
using
super long
protist
hair,
because
but,
it's
like,
so
it's enough that it's in my
so
face.
poorly defined. It's not a
It was
kingdom.
on the chart. I just showed you one on the chart. I'm trying to help you understand, son. Okay, let's try
No,
this
you're
one.
not trying to help anybody understand anything
I am.
ever.
His little chart thing is like for fucking elementary school students. Pick something that's not for 5th graders so that it's fucking useful. Like, that's not useful. It's a 5th grade textbook or something. Like, Kent, do you really not understand a 5th grade textbook?
And to make money. That's what this is. Don't try to skirt around it.
These folks live here and work here. Am I in this for the money? Oh no! You bet. Come visit.
Oh my
Dynasty
gosh, your
Land. I'll
minions
give you a
agree
tour.
with you.
You have
What
no
a
clue what
shock.
you're talking about. Now,
Your minions agree with you. What a shock. Yeah, I know, right? Like, bitch, what are you doing? You employ these people. Do you expect them to say no?
Yeah,
here it
okay.
is, simple.
Okay,
I
Dino
have
Park Man.
Dino
Okay,
Park Man.
I have parks. I have slides just like this somewhere in my 10 million slides, showing all life forms going back to a common ancestor, which was a single-celled creature, whether it be a protista or an amoeba or whatever class you want to put on it. You think this single-celled creature became a horse, a pine tree, and a human over millions of years slowly.
Yeah, no shit. It's not that confusing, bruh.
I'm
Can't
asking,
saying
where's the
the
evidence?
same thing over and over and over again in
Literally, can he, like, say something new?
A, because it's
is
true.
not an argument.
Because it's
Dave,
No,
I say the
it's
same
not.
thing because,
No,
Dave,
it's not.
you and I both taught mathematics. 2 + 2 is 4. It was 400 years ago. It's going to be 400 years from now. You don't
What
have
does
to
that
change
have to do with
truth.
anything, Kent? What does that have to do
It
with
has to
anything?
do with the fact that I don't need
No,
to
it
change what I
doesn't.
say
Kent,
because
this is
I'm
becoming
right.
very circular because all you're doing is the same thing over and over again, saying protists and
Because I'm
plants.
right.
What's going on? This is so crazy. So let's talk about the evidence. Let's talk about
Okay,
fossils.
let's talk about the evidence. Have you ever seen a protista or an amoeba or any bacteria produce something?
Can this man fucking drop the protista? Oh my god, he is saying the exact same thing over and over again. Like, bruh, drop the fucking protista. We all know protistas don't produce non-protistas immediately. They can't fucking just, like, pop out a horse. We know that, and that's fucking stupid, and he knows it's stupid, and he just keeps saying it because he doesn't have any other argument. Like, stop repeating yourself. You lost that argument. Come up with a new one.
That
He
was
just said fossils, and you're going off in the exact same talking point that
okay,
you just did.
fossils. Okay, have they found any fossil protista or bacteria or amoeba, any single-celled fossils? A lot of them have been found. I mean, lots of whole rock formations are made of trillions of fossil single-celled creatures. Have they ever found any of them with evidence of new information like a leg or a wing or an arm or an eyeball?
Bruh, that's not how it works. It doesn't just, like, pop up. You don't just go from, like, nothing to an eye. It evolves slowly. It started it out with a fucking light-sensitive nerve. Like, you're not gonna find a fully formed eyeball immediately. Is this man a fucking dumbass? Like, that's not how evolution works. It's not fucking spore.
Bacteria don't have those things. They're not multicellular organisms. So what you're saying has nothing to do with anything whatsoever.
But the chart shows they became multicellular organisms, and you
Your
think
fifth
this
grade
happened,
chart.
they drew a line on paper.
Right.
Where's the evidence?
Over
Where's
many,
the evidence
many
that it happened?
millions of years, new species came about. But that does not mean a bacterium must have a wing. That's a very dumb thing to say. And
It
it's
really
Okay, no,
is.
Dave, you're not getting it. You're still not getting it. Hey,
You're not getting it. I think you're not getting it. You're using the stupidest fucking example and treating evolution like it's fucking spore that it just pops out of nowhere. Like, no, it takes tiny, tiny, tiny little things turning into other things. You don't just go, poof, fully formed eyeball in one of them. That's not how it works.
hang on, I'll get it right here.
There's nothing
Let's
to
see,
get.
right here. Science is knowledge. What we see and observe and test is single-cell
That's a
creatures.
very cute prop, Kent. It's adorable.
It's very appropriate, too. Very appropriate.
No, it's not.
Because you imagine that all these things came from a common ancestor.
Bro, the fuck do you mean imagine? You believe in a book from 2,000 years ago that says jack shit about science and thinks the earth is flat. Like, don't be like, you imagine. I'm like, if you believe the Bible, then you should think the earth is flat. So, like, do you think the earth is flat? Are you cherry picking?
You have a
Okay.
wild imagination, Dave.
So all we're establishing that is that you don't believe biology, and so we're not getting anywhere with that. So let us talk about geology.
Biology, bio means
fossils.
life, and ology is study. I taught biology 15 years. I believe biology.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't, Kent. No, you didn't.
Okay.
He literally didn't. Bitch doesn't even have a degree. Bitch doesn't even have a high school degree. Like, stop pretending like you're educated enough to teach people. You taught people at a fucking church because you're a fucking, like, indoctrinator. You have no education. You don't get to say, oh, well, I was a teacher to the fucking PhD chemist. Like, that's not how it works. Hello, Sherby. Thank you. I know I love him so much. He is baby. His name is Jackson. I would die for him. Okay, let's go back to the video. But yeah, I'm so, yes, I love him so much. And my vape fits through his mouth, which I wasn't expecting. That was a pleasant surprise.
Okay.
You lied to children in a church. That's not teaching biology.
I lied to... You're the one lying to children, saying we all came from an amoeba or a single-celled creature. Slowly,
I didn't say amoeba. Yeah, single-celled, yeah.
You're lying to the children, Dave. You're teaching a dumb religion of evolution.
Evolution is not a religion, you stupid dumbass. It's an area of science. It's literally a type of science.
Okay, you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. So why are you talking about it?
Because it's true, and you're not getting it.
You're going like this.
If you just say the same thing over and over again, you're not going to make someone get it. It doesn't work that way. You can't just say it over and over again until they give in and agree. That's not how fucking debates work. You can't just go, I think the earth is flat. No, it's not. I think the earth is flat. Here's why it's not flat. I think the earth is flat. Not that he's not a flat earther, but he should be if he believes in the Bible so literally. But, like, that's not how arguments work. You can't just say the same thing over and over again with no explanation. That was different than the original point.
That's what you're doing. Kent, why? Explain to me why all of the fossils, you agree that there are geological strata, yes?
I agree that there are many layers of rock on the earth. I do not agree they are different ages.
Because you're stupid.
I have right here, I have in our museum pictures of petrified trees standing up, connecting all these layers.
Now, call them whatever you want. I'm asking you a question. Call them whatever you want. In these layers, there are fossils, yes?
I agree.
And they are organized in a pretty particular way, yes?
The fossils are not always in that particular way.
Yes, they are. We have never found a fossil that didn't exist in a different rock layer. We've never found a dinosaur in a layer where there were mammoths. That's not how it fucking works. We've not found a single organism in the wrong place ever. And if we did, that would be a good point. And it wouldn't be a definitive point, but it would be a good thing to point out. But we haven't. That's not an issue because we've never found a fossil in the wrong spot. Otherwise, that would be a really fucking massive deal. People would know, like, all over the fucking world. It's never happened.
If there's any
they are essentially always in that particular order.
Then you have been lied to and you swallowed a lie.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Can you find for me a hominoid fossil in a very low layer next to a trilobite fossil? Can you find that?
That's very interesting. We have a section in our museum working on right now about trilobites living with humans all along.
This fucking dumbass. I mean, he thinks humans lived with dinosaurs. What else do you fucking expect?
There might even be some.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating, though it's not based in reality.
Hello, Olivia. Thank you. I know I love him so much. He's baby. His name is Jax, and I love him. And he even came with a beanie and like a little. I keep losing it. And he came with a collar, but I haven't put the collar on yet because I want to put a tag on it. And they gave me a squishmallow, and he has paws, but they're over there, and I'm not wearing them, so I can use my computer. But his paws are black, and yeah. Sorry, I just have to like Okay, let's go back to the video. Sorry.
Dave,
now you keep derailing me, so I never got to ask you my question. My question for you is that you believe that these layers were deposited during some kind of flood, as waters were draining or something like that, right?
I agree. Yeah, the layers were deposited in a flood.
Okay, so then what I want to know is number one.
Most of them, nearly all of them. There's still layers today being deposited, but I'd say 95% of what we see was deposited during Noah's flood. Yeah.
Number one, why do the layers have zero correlation with density? Why does the density not increase as you go down? And number two, why are these fossils in those specific layers, in that specific order, everywhere around the world?
Okay, they are not in that order, but let's take one question at a time. I have in front of me a sand art toy
God, I fucking hate this analogy. He uses sand to claim that you can just shake it up and it'll settle in layers. Like, yeah, no shit, it does. But what about the fucking fossils? And what about the fact that they're not always sand? They are big slabs of rock. They're literally the crust of the earth. They're not like little tiny pieces. They're fully formed slabs of rock. You can't just pour water on them and have them be like, whoop, bye. They're not sand. There was sand at the bottom of the ocean or beaches, sure, but that's like such a minute amount compared to all the rock layers that it wouldn't fucking matter. Like, it's not sand, it's fully formed pieces of rock, and that's a terrible analogy.
That has 4 different densities of sand: black, dark blue, light blue, and white. 4 different densities, but every time you flip it over, it makes 30 or 40 different layers. Why
are any of those limestone or sandstone or granite, are those in there?
Dave, I'm not sure what you know about physics or hydrologic sorting, but water automatically sorts things, especially during the time.
I know, right? Thank you, Dave, for like dealing with this bitch. I would lose my shit. I mean, he's losing his shit a little bit too, but I would lose my shit like 10 times more. I don't take this bullshit. I would probably just be like, you're a fucking dumbass, and I genuinely wish the worst upon you.
Tidal change during the flood in the days of Noah. The earth is turning around, you know, in spite of the flat earthers, and the tide goes up and down. And so if the earth were turning for a year while the tide's going up and down with no interruptions, it would make thousands of layers and the density would be completely confused.
No, it wouldn't make thousands of layers of fully formed solid rock. Like, sure, the sand moves around and shit, but like, that's not the same as fully formed slabs of rock.
Generally, clams are found at the bottom.
What do you mean completely confused? What does that mean?
Well, during one tide, you would get more dense and light dense. And then 6 hours later, you get another tide coming in, bringing another layer on top of all that. So you may get more dense and less dense. Just Google stratigraphy, experiments in stratigraphy, stratigraphic experiments at Colorado.
At the Colorado.
So you're saying that tides exist everywhere on Earth, in every location on Earth at the same time. Is that basically what you're saying?
Well, during the flood in the days of Noah, the earth was covered and the tides would cover the world.
No, it wasn't. That didn't happen.
Tide, while other parts have a low tide. You see?
So how can you get the same strata everywhere on Earth? Tides occur on a coast.
If the earth were covered...
Yeah, it's tides if it's on the coast because it varies on fucking waves. If it's in the middle of the ocean, it's a current. That's like not even science. That's just basic shit. There's a difference between a current and a tide.
With water during Noah's flood, tides would occur everywhere, Dave.
What do you mean they would occur everywhere? Tides occur on a coast. Tides come in and out. If the world is covered by water, where is a tide? How does a tide?
Let me explain, Dave. Here is the Pacific Ocean. They have a high tide and a low tide in the middle of the Pacific. You don't see it because you're in a ship floating up and down, but the Pacific Ocean actually comes up and down.
Current.
During the tide. What do you mean tide occurs at the coast? Have you ever studied anything about earth science?
I know about lunar tides. You're talking about the depositing of sediments in a particular way.
Yeah, right. See, the world is turning. At this latitude, 31.3366 degrees north latitude in Lenox, Alabama, we're turning 886 miles an hour toward the east. If the tide were going up and down during Noah's flood, the water would have to rush sideways at really high speeds to fill that bump, and then rush down the other way at high speeds to...
Where the fuck did the water come from? Why does no one address where the fuck the water came from? We do not get new water on Earth. It doesn't just appear with new water. The water that comes from rain is water that already was here and evaporated. The only times we get new water is whenever there's like a comet, which is predominantly made of ice, and it melts in the atmosphere, or whenever like that Heidenberg explosion with the fucking blimp that created tiny, tiny amounts of water. Like, we have barely had any new water. And if he wants to say, oh, well, maybe the ice caps melted, which I've never heard anyone even think of that, but that's still not enough water to cover the entire planet. That's a lot of water, but it's not enough to cover the planet. Where the fuck did the water come from? Where did the water come from? That is a massive new amount of water. You can't just, like, I don't know, where the fuck does he think it comes from? Like, where does it just appeared? Like, we don't get new water. That's part of why, like, polluted water and shit is such a big issue, because you can't just make new water. Like, you can't just be like, hello, yes, I made more water. That's not how fucking water works. And, like, I'm just, oh, okay.
You need really high speeds. What does that have anything? How is it any different than tides today?
Okay.
Oh, also in the Bible, whenever it's talking about the flood, it's claiming that it rained. I think it says for 40 days. That doesn't matter. The water evaporated and then it rained. Raining for 40 days is not.
It's not. It's not. But the tides today get interrupted by banging into the continents. Earth turns toward the east, so the tides generally hit the eastern coast a little more because the tide is being drawn out by the moon, lunar
You're
gravity.
trying to ascribe some kind of magical quality to tides that doesn't exist. We see what tides do today, and we see what they do.
It's very simple. Here, look at this. I just flipped this thing over. These 4 different densities of sand made, probably 20 different layers.
And again, are any of those things sandstone or limestone or granite or anything that would be applicable to this discussion whatsoever?
I think it's pretty obvious, even from the name. You might even get this. Sandstone is made from sand, okay?
Yeah, but it's not like a fucking tiny little pieces. It's still a solid piece of rock. Just because it's made of sand doesn't mean that it's not a solid piece of rock. It doesn't just like float around. It's a piece of rock, even though it's made of sand. It's still a solid object. Glass is made of sand. Does that mean that you can just like, if there was just a big slab of glass, you could just make it dissolve like sand?
We have sand is moved very easily when tides move back and forth. Water
And
going back and forth.
But it's not the same material. How does it possibly compact into?
It would have to harden. It would have to harden over.
Yeah, that's called the problem of evil or Epicurean paradox. If there's an all-loving God, all-knowing God, and all-powerful God, then that's a what's it called? That's a paradox considering the world we live in, because there's still suffering and there's still crime and hunger and all that shit. So there can't be, and because if God's not all-loving, then well, okay, it makes sense. If God's not all-powerful, then he can't fix it, and that makes sense. If God's not all-knowing, then he probably doesn't know, and that makes sense. But if he's all of those things, he knows, he can stop it, and he should want to stop it, but he doesn't because there's still all this shit. So it's like, yeah, it's a paradox. Wait just a sec. Literally same, marry me, Dave. I think I might end the live because I'm really tired. I was woken up whenever my fursuit got here by my mom. So I'm gonna be live later at my usual time, but I am like struggling to keep my eyes open. So I think I'm gonna head out, but I'll be live at my usual time too. I am just so fucking tired. I literally can't keep my eyes open. So I think I'm gonna head out. But if I don't catch you later at the next live, then I hope you have a good night, and thank you for chilling with me. I love my baby so much. Okay, so you guys have a great night. Thank